Have you ever started cleaning your house, just tidying up a bit, and suddenly found yourself on a much deeper journey? That's exactly what happened to me the other day. I decided to do a little spring cleaning, the usual stuff. But as I started sorting through closets, dusting off shelves that hadn't seen the light of day in years, and bagging up things I no longer needed, I felt this incredible sense of lightness. And it wasn't just because the room was less crowded. It was a feeling deep in my spirit. It really made me think about how much our outer environment is a mirror to our inner world. Think about it. When physical clutter piles up in our homes, it does more than just look messy. It gathers dust, it can grow mold, it traps allergens, things that can actually affect our physical health. In the same way, spiritual clutter can build up in our hearts and weigh us down. This kind of clutter isn't something you can see, but you can definitely feel it. It shows up as toxic thoughts, unresolved pain, emotional baggage, or unconfessed sin. It's that feeling of stress that won't go away, that constant anxiety humming in the background, a lack of peace, or just feeling distant from God. We might try to ignore this inner mess, but it silently impacts everything. There's a powerful verse in 2 Corinthians 7:1 that says, "Let us cleanse ourselves from all filthiness of the flesh and spirit, perfecting holiness in the fear of God." This really hits home. It tells us that God calls us to pursue purity in both our physical lives and our spiritual lives. Keeping our homes clean is good, of course, but the bigger, more life-changing invitation is to cleanse our spirits. It's about dealing with the hidden things that grieve God's heart and keep us from experiencing the full freedom He has for us. So, what does this spiritual clutter look like? A big one is toxic thoughts. These are the silent saboteurs of our soul. They're like that junk drawer we all have, out of sight, but full of things that trip us up. Toxic thoughts are the lies we start to believe about ourselves, about other people, and even about God. These thoughts are almost always rooted in fear, shame, comparison, bitterness, or insecurity. When we let them fester, they start to shape our actions, poison our entire perspective, and lock us into these frustrating cycles of defeat. Do any of these sound familiar? That little voice in your head that whispers, "I'll never be good enough." Or maybe, "God has probably given up on me by now." Or perhaps you're holding onto a grudge and thinking, "I can't forgive them after what they did." Or the crippling fear that if people really knew the real me, they'd walk away. I want to tell you, with all the certainty in my heart, that these thoughts are not from God. They are weapons used against us to keep us small and separated from His love. The Bible gives us a strategy for this battle. In 2 Corinthians 10, verses 4 and 5, it says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ." This is so empowering. It means we don't have to be victims of our own thoughts. God invites us to become active participants, to take every single thought captive. We can learn to identify what's toxic and immediately replace it with God's truth. His word becomes the ultimate filter. It's the tool He gives us to completely renew our minds, just like it says in Romans 12:2. We don't just clean out the old thoughts, we replace them with new, life-giving ones from Him. Now let's talk about one of the heaviest forms of spiritual clutter: unconfessed sin. This is the weight we were never meant to carry. It's like that big, messy pile in the corner of a room that we just keep avoiding. We walk around it, we try to ignore it, but it's always there, quietly draining our joy, our confidence, and our intimacy with God. God's grace is always available. It's an endless ocean. But when we hold on to unconfessed sin, we're choosing to build a wall that blocks us from fully experiencing His presence. It breeds shame, guilt, and a life lived in secrecy. King David knew this feeling all too well. After he tried to hide his sin, he wrote about the crushing weight it had on him. In Psalm 32, he says, "When I kept silent, my bones grew old through my groaning all the day long. For day and night your hand was heavy upon me. My vitality was turned into the drought of summer." Can you feel the agony in those words? The spiritual and even physical toll that hiding his sin took on him. He felt dried up, exhausted, and crushed. But the story doesn't end there, and this is the beautiful part. In the very next verse, David makes a choice. He decides to stop hiding and start confessing. He writes, "I acknowledge my sin to you, and my iniquity I have not hidden. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave the iniquity of my sin." Wow. The moment he confessed, he was met with forgiveness. This is the heart of God. Confession isn't about God waiting to condemn us. It's about Him waiting to restore us. It's how we declutter our hearts. It is how we finally drop the heavy weight we've been carrying and step back into a close, loving relationship with our Father. So, what is it for you? What's cluttering your heart today? Maybe it's a bitterness you haven't dealt with. Maybe it's lies you've been believing for far too long. Or maybe it's sins you've tried to bury deep down, hoping no one, not even God, will notice. Today, God is lovingly inviting you to let go. He's inviting you to declutter not just your home, but your heart. To surrender everything that is toxic, and to take hold of everything that is true, pure, and life-giving. There's a beautiful prayer in Psalm 51, verse 10, that says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me." This can be our prayer today. It's a prayer for a fresh start, a clean slate. Letting go isn't always easy. It can be painful to face the mess, but it is so necessary. Remember, this isn't just about having a cleaner space. It's about having a freer soul. It's about living in the lightness and liberty that Jesus won for us. Thank you so much for joining me today and exploring this with me. If this message resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you'd like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Let's continue this journey of decluttering our hearts together. See you in the next video.